Good morning. You are listening to First Title National Real Estate Radio Show. I am your host, Doug Dennison, and we are broadcasting from beautiful St. Augustine, Florida, the nation's oldest city, at WFOY 1240 AM studios. Through the power of the internet, this program is being streamed worldwide on 1240news.com. The show will also be archived on FirstTitleServices.com, as First Title and Escrow, Inc. are the sponsors of the program. They are a leading national title agency and proud to be working with them. Additionally, the show will be posted on YouTube.com. Our radio show mission statement: to provide an educational experience for listeners in a promotional format for real estate sales across the country. We're going to be talking about real estate, different real estate markets across the country. We've got a lot of topics today. Just a quick aside. One of my guests a couple weeks ago, I talked to him 2 or 3 days ago, and he says, Doug, I was on your show, and I had a international call and from Sweden, and was talking to me, and it's a client that I've done business with before, and he says, Doug, the guy listened to the show live on 1240news.com. Well, that's pretty cool. A guy from Sweden listening to the radio show from St. Augustine, Florida, the power of the internet. That was great. Another nice little deal was one of our guests, let me see, about a month ago, from Sperry Van Ness, Commercial Real Estate Advisors, was on the show as a guest and was talking about medical office buildings, and he's really a specialist. And anyway, one of the local listeners from the St. Augustine area called in to the radio show to get my number. I spoke to him, got him lined up with this, basically this expert in regards to medical office buildings, and lo and behold, they got together. They're actually selling one of the properties and looking for another one, and I'm gonna promote that right now because I think it's a wonderful thing that people are listening and people are getting involved and active, and that I was a small part of that. This is a St. Augustine medical office building with additional land. It's in St. Augustine, Florida. It's on sale for $399,000. 2-unit medical office building, close to historic district. The person to talk to is Jim Morgan. He's the managing director. His number is 904 for Sperry Van Ness. His number is 904-346-3668. That's Jim Morgan. He's a CCIM, and he's managing director. 2 quick stories. I like that. Let's go to our first guest. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, Mr. Dennison, Gabriel Gomez. How are you?
Well, Gabe, it's wonderful to talk to you. It's been a while, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to hear all your new directions you are taking and the new assignments, and I wish you all the best in that new endeavors.
Well, thank you so much. And for our listeners, Gabriel, tell us who you are, where you're from, and what company you're with.
Yes, I am Gabriel Gomez. I am with the Kais Company. I'm a real estate practitioner for the past 24 years, mainly in the commercial department. I've been with the Kais Company, which is the largest independent realtor in the South Florida market, with about 35 offices. We have been in the business for 87 years already.
87 years. That's
yes.
Just wonderful.
Yes, yes. We do provide a lot of services. We call the full service house. We have the title, we have the mortgage, we have the inspection companies, movers, you name, insurance, you name it, we have available for our clients.
Well, your company, the Caius company, owned by the Pappas family, great people. I was thrilled to work with there a few years, and of course that's how I hooked up with you. You do a lot of work in the Fort Lauderdale area. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, Hallandale, the Broward County mainly.
Okay.
That's the area that I have tried to specialize.
Well,
There is a lot of activity.
well, there's a lot of activity, but why don't you tell me about the activity? Because I've been hearing a lot from South Florida. What's happening in the real estate market down there? Because we all heard about the doldrums and the pits that it went down to, along with the rest of Florida. Tell us what happened, and then how are you guys moving out of that?
Well, we were one of the hardest market hit with the foreclosures and the short sales.
Yep.
But drastically, a lot of the investors, private and large corporations, and even the bank now, they have come forward and they have taken a lot of these properties. They are fixing them up. They are renting them out. So the market is really, really hot. The prices are rising over the past 2 years, slowly but surely. The luxury market is amazing. There are sales of apartments in Boca Raton, for example. I was reading yesterday a sale of an apartment for $12.5 million, and then in the same building, another sale for $7.5. So the luxury market is safe. It's like a heaven money for the foreigners. So there is a lot of foreign investors coming into the real estate in the United States. We see a lot of Europeans and Americans, and the Canadians are back. There is a lot of Canadians buying their own residence, and also they are buying investment properties. Although everybody's looking for the deal, for that short sale, but a lot of that inventory has been depleted drastically, and there is a lot of availability in the market right now of the regular sales, which are competing with the short sales. But the inventory is in the housing market is about 6 months, and in the new homes is about 4.5 months of inventory. So there is a demand. There is a good time to sell. You can get a good price. The prices have increased. I will say that from 3 to 10%, depending on the market area. So it's hot. The residential is hot. It's good. It's a lot of activity. A lot of large corporations are buying a big portfolio of properties directly from the banks, and they are renting. They are fixing the homes, and they are renting it. And then that has increased a little bit the demand for that type of property. The rate of occupancy is very, very low. If we look at the apartments, you will see that there is more demand on the Class B because there is a lot of more people that are requiring this type of housing due to the short sales, the new formation of new households, and also the banks are more difficult to obtain a mortgage, so then a lot of them are going towards the rental. So the apartments is a hot in the commercial department. It's a hot item right now. There is a great demand. There is a lot of activity going on. A good time to be a landlord. I jump all over from the housing directly into the commercial, but I think that the two of them, especially the apartment and the house, they relate to each other. Going back again to the commercial, the retail part, we saw a lot of vacancies throughout the South Florida here in the Broward County, but all of a sudden, with the economy improving and showing some signs of improvement, we have seen a little bit more confidence, and the people are beginning to open a new business, maintain the existing one. So the occupancy seems to be the owners are filling up those stores that they were empty. So there is a good demand for that type of property. Very slow, but it's coming up again. Office buildings, the same thing. You know, a lot of I think it was one of the sectors that they were hit the hardest, along with the warehouses. There is a slow recovery, but the prices have been decreased. The rental rates have been low too, so there is a good chance to obtain or buy warehouses or office buildings at a low price, being able to maintain it for a while, and then in the long run, catching up with the rents. But basically, that's what it is in this moment around here.
It's amazing, all of the good things that's happening in South Florida. I want to get back to the international investors, international buyers. Why is South Florida such a place for them to feel that that's a bargain for them, and to come over and buy not only residential properties, second homes, that type of thing, but also commercial investment?
United States always shows a sign of stability, even though we have our ups and downs, but it looks better than in other countries. In
Sure.
Europe right now, there is a lot of instability. There is a lot of, the prices are extremely high, so the money lasts, you can buy more with whatever money they have right now. The rate of exchange, the dollar value versus the other monetary monies, and the world is in favors a lot those currencies, and so there is a little bit more, they can buy more than they can buy in their own country. Canada, for example, we are experiencing a lot of investors from Canada. Right now, there's a lot of people buying apartments and commercial properties, and also the second home, the vacation home. And most of them, which is quite interesting, they're coming with cash.
Really? Okay.
Yes. A lot of these sales are. There is some financing, although you have to have a good credit. You know, the banks are demanding a lot of more money down.
Yep.
And also there is a lot of more requirements, and especially for the foreigners, they require a lot of more security.
Well,
there is a lot of activity. There is a lot of from the foreigners. A lot of people from South America, you know, they are coming and they are bringing their money here. They feel that their investments, they feel that are more secure. They feel that they are more safe in here in this country. So that's why and also they see that there is a possibility of increasing in their value of those investments. Down in those countries, most of the time the money is devaluated, the prices go down and instead of going up, and there is a lot of higher risk of losing their investments.
I got it. You have been in the real estate field for quite some time. How did you get into it, Gabe?
It was quite interesting. I have a friend that I came to South Florida about 30 years ago, and looking for opportunities. I was living in Canada, had my own business, lost the business, came down to Florida looking for opportunities, and she kept on telling me, you got to go into the real estate. You got to go into real estate. I said, no, real estate is not for me. Finally, I took her advice, and here I am 24 years ago. I love it. I really enjoy it. It's my passion. I always say that I would never retire from real estate. I have my own investments. I make a lot of mistakes too, as a lot of us we did. But I'm again in the stage of recovering some of those losses that I have from I would say the greed. I was a little bit too greedy to invest. But at this point, we are again in the stage of regrouping, going back again into the investment, purchasing other properties, and I will say I love it. And I enjoy it.
Well, you are the assistant district sales manager of the Fort Lauderdale branch. You work with Ray Barquette, who's a mainstay in South Florida real estate for many years. And are you still playing tennis? I know that you guys whipped us last time I played, but you guys were great.
Yeah, we still play tennis. We try to combine our physical exercise and maintain ourselves in shape in order to maintain a good level of comfort with our clients, with a good sense of stability in our own minds and our own bodies, and then that will reflect toward the client when we are among the people who also practice it, and also the ability to see that you are able to do a lot of other things that give you a little push to pursue other sports, other activities for your physical being.
Well, you were a tennis pro as far as I was concerned. I was just watching the ball go by me. So it's great to catch up with you again. How can people get a hold of you, Gabe?
I am in Fort Lauderdale, 5020 East Sunrise Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale. My email, Gabriel Gomez, GABRIEL GOMEZ at Keys.com, KEYES.com, or my cellular 954-478-2182.
Well, very good. I appreciate it. And how many associates do you have in that building there, Gabe?
In this building, we are about 45, and one of the interesting part of this group is that there are 6 CCIMs, which is the highest commercial designation that the National Association of Realtors has. And we are 6 of us in this office, so it's a good bunch of people, very successful, everybody, very active, and it's a good group to be with.
Well,
we are about 45 agents altogether, because we are with the residential people too.
Right. Well, CCIM, you're right. It is the mainstay of the top-notch commercial designation. It's the Certified Commercial Investment Member, and you've been a member since 1996, so that just shows you how good you are. Hey, thank you so much for calling in, Gabe. Give my best to Mr. Pappas and Mr. Barquette.
Thank you very much, Doug, and a pleasure to talk to you, and have a great day.
You bet. Take care now.
Bye-bye.
All right, Gabriel Gomez from the Fort Lauderdale office, Kai's. He's the assistant district sales manager in the Fort Lauderdale branch. The Kai's company, their largest independent real estate company in South Florida, with over 35 offices and over 1,800 associates. And what did he just tell us? That they've been around for 87 years. Is that what I heard? Or 78? Anyway, it's phenomenal. It's a great group of people led by Mike Pappas and the Pappas family, Tim Pappas, a good group of people. I want to go to a segment that I'm going to call the Auction World, and wanted to give a shout out to Rao Auctions. Rao Auctions has a few, 5 or 6 auctions coming up that you will want to check out. Rao Auctions is a national real estate auction firm that started in 1936. They do online auctions, on-site auctions, and ballroom auctions. They have offices in Florida, New Jersey, California, Georgia, and have alliances with auctioneers and real estate brokers across the country. They do government auctions, bank auctions, bankruptcy auctions, and much more. They've got a big auction schedule coming up, so check out their website at www.raoauctions.com. That's www.raoauctions.com, or you can call them at 800-323-8388. I was looking on their website today. They've got a bankruptcy auction in Georgia for real estate assets. They've got 661 acres, I believe, available in another auction. I think there's also an Alabama bankruptcy auction coming up that they're involved with. So lots of good stuff they do. They're a national company. They have, again, real estate properties that are available from all over the country. Go to their website at raoauctions.com, or you can call them at 800-323-8388. Couple things on the radar here. Looking for news, and one of the things that has come up on DS News, which of course is one of the leaders in real estate and lending. It's a group out of Dallas, but they do deals all over the country. It's dsnews.com. dsnews.com. One of the things on their website today is that Radar Logic says forces driving up prices are temporary. Now, there's a whole bunch of people saying yes and no, and there's going to be more foreclosures, so don't get too excited. But here's what it says. It says, despite improvements in home values, Radar Logic continues to contend the factors underpinning the recovery will not lead to sustainable price gains. In March, Radar Logic's home price index, which tracks 25 metro areas, showed a 13.1% year-over-year gain. That's not bad. Here it says, at the peak of the housing boom, this is interesting, at the peak of the housing boom in July 2007, the number of single-family homes available for sales, excluding condominiums and townhomes, stood at 3.4 million, and then this is what's for sale, compared to 1.9 million in April of 2013. This is according to data from the National Association of Realtors. We're going to be talking more about this because everybody, I think, believes that because of the economy, because they're seeing prices go up, that things are getting better on that side of the real estate, and I'm going to have to agree with them. Of course, there's pockets everywhere that are different. I've been talking to you for many, many years about the fact that there's ups and downs. California and Florida always seem to lead the charge in regards to high returns, double-digit increases, and then when it goes down, and it always does go down, they get hit the hardest again, and have a huge degree of downward slope. And so they have been coming up. We just heard from Gabriel Gomez from South Florida that is doing great down there, and I'm glad to hear it. We're going to take a minute for a couple of quick breaks, and we will be right back. Thank you for listening. To hear from you, and thank you for calling in. You and I know each other for 20 plus years. I was 8. Good morning, you're on the air.
Douglas,
hey.
How are you doing today, sir?
Well, how are you doing, John Lewinger? John, tell us who you are, what you're doing, where you're from, sir.
Well, I want to apologize. You are on a speakerphone in my car, but I am calling you from the middle of the Jicarilla Indian Reservation, which is the largest landowner in New Mexico.
Huh. Wow.
So this is a special treat, and do you know what I see?
What do you see?
Just about nothing. We got a little bit of a desert going here. How are you doing, Doug?
I'm doing fine, and it's wonderful to hear from you, and thank you for calling in. You and I know each other for 20-plus years. I was able to work with you for one of the largest RTC, Resolution Trust Corporation, auctions many years ago, and it was a complete success. I was looking around for the top real estate company in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and found you, and you were just a pleasure to work with. Try to recount some of that the great event that we did together, if you would.
May I tell you about it? In fact, I'm traveling with a young man from Albuquerque to Farmington right now. I was telling him the story. There were 702 properties. They were in 19 different communities in New Mexico. We had it at a Marriott hotel. It started at 6:30 in the evening. We finished at 1:30 in the morning. It was a no-reserve auction. Everything sold. And it was with a guy named Fisher, who it was just a great gig. And the average piece of property sold in less than a minute, and we had 30 seconds of jazz music between each sale.
Well, you're talking...
That was 1992, so I was a little bit younger then.
You and me both, sir. You're talking about Louis Fisher, of course, and Louis is one of the top-notch auctioneers in the country, as you know, and he and I saw you, I think, a couple years ago in Dallas. I asked you to be a speaker for the DS News 5-star event, and of course, as always, you did a fine job.
Well, I'm trying my very best. It's interesting, that auction process, which wasn't very well tested for the United States government and real estate 20 years ago, and it's a little more than 20 years ago.
Yep.
I thought that the way that was put together, and I'm very critical of the government, it actually maximized the amount of money that the government could have possibly gotten out of those assets in a very, very short period of time.
Well, time is money, and every once in a while we have to remind the government, I think, that holding properties is not a good thing, and we've been very, I guess, really pounding on the doors up in Washington because they've got thousands of properties that are not being used and abandoned. And what happens to an abandoned commercial property? What happens to the property? What happens to the area? You know this best because you're like the commercial man in New Mexico.
Well, I don't know if I'd call it government property, but you have this regentrification of various parts of communities. In the mid-1900s, the downtowns were the fibers of the community. And in fact, in Europe, they still are like that. But as years have gone by, and we have suburban malls, and people are moving out of town, and maybe that's turning around a little bit. A lot of the downtowns have really hit upon hard times. Some communities have been able to revive them. In Albuquerque, New Mexico, I've been there 40 years, and the downtown has not done very well for the last 40 years, and it's probably one of the weakest real estate sectors in our market today. And so it's not just government. I mean, every branch of government has excess properties because as we've trimmed down government, we just don't need all this stuff anymore. So It's a real problem. They should be selling it off to either get it refurbished and put into productive use, although in fact many of those properties are, I'll tell you what's happened in New Mexico. We use a lot of those properties to utilize for charter schools.
Really?
So we have been able to reuse them, but there's a bunch of them that need to be sold off.
Well, I agree. So tell me about, you're telling me that downtown Albuquerque is not doing well. So right now, what about the outskirts? What's happening residential-wise? In a summary.
Well, I'll start out with the positive stuff. Our
Okay.
residential market is starting to pick up again.
Good.
Everybody agrees that we've hit bottom. Prices are starting to increase. Home builders are building again. We're starting to, and this was a surprise to me, we are starting to have a scarcity of available lots to build houses. We don't have the financial markets in place to finance the building of these speculative lots, but I think that'll come back within a year. But our general commercial flavor in New Mexico, our money that runs our state comes out of a lot of government, a lot of medical, and a lot of education.
Okay.
And we are not national headquarters. There are very few national headquarters here, and we do not have a huge manufacturing base. We're an MSA of about 800,000 people. We probably have 35 million square feet of industrial space. If you were to go to El Paso, which is less than 300 miles away near the border, you'd see 3 or 4 times as much industrial space out here. So we're much slower in, although I would tell you unemployment in New Mexico is a lot better, but the jobs have been hard to come by.
Mm-hmm.
And we're working on it really hard, but we're not there yet.
Okay. Well, it looks like it's picking up a little bit, so that's good. What do you see for the future? What's happening, in regards to, I guess, everything, if you put it all together, assuming the economy is going to continue, assuming prices are going to continue to rise, what do you see for the commercial sector first in your area?
Well, I'm going to give you a little speech, and then I'll tell you what I think.
Okay.
First thing that I've noticed, and I am in a sort of a semi-retirement mode. I work about 6-7 hours a day. Is that the manner in which not just the real estate business, perhaps everything, including radio, perhaps,
Mm-hmm.
the way things operate have changed. The needs of the public have changed. And so it's very hard for me, who really was involved in real estate for 40 years, pretty much doing it the same with, annual modifications. But the differences between what the Internet has done, how people communicate, the needs for office, how you use your offices, it's very hard to predict, at least for me, what's going to happen in the future.
Okay.
I believe that there will always be a need for real estate. I think it's going to be used in a more efficient fashion. I think that the value of real estate has really gone down nationwide, and I think it's going to take years to get back to the values that were there 5 years ago.
Right.
But I would also tell you that those values were somewhat artificially inflated.
Yes, they were.
So I'm very optimistic. It's my retirement, and so I'm hoping everything continues up there, and I do expect it to. But I think at least in New Mexico, we're going to trail by as much as a year and a half.
Okay. You talk about things are changing so fast, so it's hard to predict. Tell me, because you're pretty much a visionary, and I can say that with a straight face.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, I say it with a straight face. You have kind of been leading the edge for many years on different topics. I know you're a leader in real estate with the New Mexico Real Estate Association and the boards and all that kind of stuff. How do you think that real estate has changed? And again, your listeners right now are real estate people. They're bankruptcy attorneys, real estate media, and the general public. Tell us what you think and how it's changed.
My dream of an office 40 years ago was something about the size of a double-car garage with a big desk, big conference room, my own bathroom. I never achieved any of that, by the way. I now have an office that I would say is it's substantial. It's probably 15 by 15.
Okay.
And it is my personal plan to move into a cubicle that will be, maybe 10 by 12, that everything that I need will be right in front of me. It'll all be automated, And my goal is to become extraordinarily proficient through the utilization of electronics, and I live with my iPad, and I am a little bit of a dinosaur, but I will really become a dinosaur if I don't embrace all of that.
Yep.
And I think where my company needed 16,000 feet through the 2000s, I think that it's going to need 12,000 feet, be more efficient, and the rents are going to be lower. And I'm going to need to do that to make my real estate company flourish again.
How do you deal with the fact that the internet has changed everything, and that many of buyers and many of sellers are really doing a lot of the searching themselves before they pick up a phone and actually interact with a professional real estate person? How do you deal with that?
Well, I think that's good.
Okay.
When people call us, they already have a sense of what they want, and then we need to guide them to various solutions to their problems. But our whole prospecting technique has changed, and a lot of it is very passive in the development and the distribution of really good information. And so we have people contacting us more often than we used to in the past. I don't personally like it because I always thought that the personal communication was where the fun was.
Right.
But that's not the way people in their 30s and 40s are functioning today.
And the people that are in the 20s are even further removed from the person to person. They're texting, they're emailing, they're tweeting. Now, how do you figure that will be a big change and continue to be a big change? And how do you teach your associates to embrace it?
Well, the average age of our associate has gone down, which is a good thing.
Yep.
And most of the people we interact with already have a firm understanding of all of these things. If you went to our website, which we're now a Colliers International company,
yep.
But if you went to our website, you'd see we can tweet, we can face, we can do anything you need. We can even cook. Okay, Douglas. I'm on my way to Farmington.
All right.
You got me pulled over the Hickory Reservation. I got to go to work.
I understand. Tell us how to get a hold of you, sir.
My name is John Lewinger, and I'm a real estate person. I just finished an 8-year stint as vice chairman of the First National Bank of Santa Fe, on a board of a title company. So if there's anything I can help you with in any place in the state of New Mexico, southern Colorado, or northern Texas, I'm in. John Lewinger, 505-880-7000. J. Lewinger, Lewinger, @nmrea.com.
Hey, thank you so much, John. It's a pleasure to talk to you again. You have a wonderful weekend.
Stay safe.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
That was John Lewinger, a good friend. Again, I want to go back to 1992 or 1991, whenever it was. I think it was 91. He keeps on saying it's 92, so maybe he's right. But this was the beginning of the Resolution Trust Corporation, which was set up by the government to sell assets of the failed savings and loan institutions. And I was working with an auction firm out of South Florida. We were lucky enough to get the deal with the government to auction off not only, 702 properties in New Mexico, but also, I'm going to say, 150 in Arizona, and I'm going to say almost 900 properties in Colorado. And we did it within a four-day stint, I believe. It was in ballrooms. Today, much more of the auction world is based on internet. That's good and bad, I think. It's good that people don't have to drive and get a hotel room and spend a long period of time to go after their property. So there's more availability so that they can sit back home with their T-shirt and flip-flops on and actually bid. I like that, but I do miss, I must admit, part of the fun, the excitement. That auction that he's talking about, we usually had a teaching seminar. We call it a bidder's seminar, like the week before. And so I was in charge of getting the room, and we had it available for like 300 people, I think, and we set it up. And my gosh, the number of people that were there, there were so many that we had to say, excuse me, you can't come into the room. Wait outside. We're going to do it quickly. We'll be 30, 35 minutes. Go to the restrooms, go to get a bite to eat, go get something to drink, whatever. But we will come back and do it again in 35 minutes. And that's exactly what we did. So at the end of the day, we had like 600 people come to a bidder seminar. Now, at the auction, it was amazing because people were lined up around the Marriott to try to get in to register. And what John said was absolutely correct, that we had all of these properties. We had it booked for one day. We started at 6:30. We did not get over until, I'm going to say, 7 hours later. One property per minute, just like John said, an amazing success. And I was thrilled that John would say that it was an amazing success as far as value for the government. That, there was many people bidding, obviously. I think we had more than 2,000 people in the room. Many, many bidders, very excited bidding. Lots of press. It was a very good thing. I'd like to see the government do more of this. I'd like to see properties being sold. What he determined as no reserve. Another word for that is absolute auctions. It means that it's going to sell no matter what. Yes, if you're a seller, that makes you queasy because, could the property sell for a lot less than what you were hoping for? Yes, and it does. And that's what brings people to auctions. Now, on the other hand, when you have a lot of bidding, the property could garner a whole bunch more for the seller than they anticipated. And again, if you're selling an absolute auction, then you're going to get more people there, more bidders. People are going to spend the time and effort to go there and figure out if they want us to bid on the property. When it is a reserve auction, people tend to stay away. So would you rather have 5 or 7 people bidding on your property, or would you like to have 2 or 3? Well, the answer is real easy, and that's you'd rather have 5 or 7, and that's what an absolute auction does. A couple more stories. We'll get off auctions for a minute. From CNN Money, it was listed here, home prices post the strongest gains in 7 years. Says the home prices posted the strongest gain since 2006 as the housing recovery continued to gain steam. And again, early in our show, I gave you another one that says it may not continue on these price increases. On this one, it says prices on the S&P Case-Shiller National Index rose 10.2 in the first quarter, according to the latest report. That marked the fourth consecutive quarter of year-over-year gains, said David Blitzer, head of S&P's index division. The strong gains over the past year may be a bit of a statistical mirage, according to Robert Schiller, a Yale economist and co-founder of the index. Foreclosure sales are down, he said, and since foreclosures sell at steep discounts, that's boosted average home prices. Now, that's just one take. This was written by Les Christie at CNN Money. Let's go on some more news. Here's an interesting one, and this was dsnews.com, and that's where I go to get a lot of my news. It comes to me on a daily basis. They send you an email, and it's got the top stories of the day. I like it a lot. You may want to go on there. Again, dsnews.com, and ask to be put on their email list. Let's see, is another one. Realty Track, top markets to find fixer-uppers. I know this has special interest in the investors that we have throughout the country. It says fixer-upper homes might be the solution for potential buyers who are having trouble with snagging a good deal in this low inventory environment, according to Realty Track. And I'm going to go to some of the cities. The top 15 cities for fixer-uppers. Detroit, Michigan, reigned as the first or the best city to buy a fixer-upper. In Detroit, Realty Track found there were 3,773 bank-owned properties built before 1960 that cost under $100,000. This is like exactly what investors are looking for, people that have started to say, you know what, I'd like to do my own real estate portfolio. I'd like to buy a property. I'd like to fix it up. I'd like to rent it out, maybe sell it in a few years. This might become my retirement plan, do 3, 4, 5 of them a year. And so this is really interesting stuff. It says our average market value for these properties is $41,503. Another Michigan city landed on the list with Lansing rated as number 15 with 513 fixer-uppers. Ohio received the greatest representation. They've got Cleveland number 3, Cincinnati number 5, Toledo number 9, Dayton number 11, and Columbus number 12. Here's interesting. Chicago ranked second, where there are 1,649 fixer-uppers. And other top cities included St. Louis, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Phoenix, Birmingham. Looking forward to next week. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Thank you.